Hi guys, welcome back. It's UK here with another vid. Today I'm going to take a break from the role-playing games to talk about a small skirmish-based war game called Gaslands, which you may or may not have heard of. I only learnt about it a couple of years ago. It's a game published by Osprey Games. Yes. And if you are a fan of Mad Max, or more appropriately considering the game, Death Race 2000, especially the more recent one with Jason Statham, you'll kind of have an idea what this game is about. The premise of the game is that in the, well, I'm guessing an alternate timeline based on the years involved, but mankind colonises Mars. Mars declares independence, Earth says no, Mars nukes Earth. And in the aftermath, you kind of have to keep the population of Earth contained, and you do this by televising auto-duel games. And so the story goes, if you manage to win and survive to win, I should say, the Gaslands yearly, I suppose, tournament games. Supposedly the winner gets to relocate to Mars and live a life of prosperity and wealth and luxury. Although there is a belief that Mars is a lie, much like the cake. And so basically you build your team, basically. You get a number of points in which this game are called cans, and you buy cars, or you might buy bikes or trucks, jeeps, and in certain instances a tank, or a big war rig, a juggernaut type thing. And the idea is that you can't get the money and the resources to enter these games without a sponsor. And in the first edition of the game, there was about 6 sponsors. In the current version, Gaslands Refueled, I think it's called, there's probably twice that many. So like 6 main ones and then some little ones. And they dictate certain things about your team. They give you certain rules that your team will abide by. Things they can do, special traits, that sort of thing. But they also dictate, on certain occasions, the things that you can take. For example, there is a military weapons contract called Rutherford, and they allow you to take tanks and I think helicopters or gyrocopters. If you are Mishkin, which is a Russian mad scientist, you get weird technological weapons like teleporters or lightning cannons that you can fit to your car. Then you've got more mundane ones like Miyazaki, which are the sort of like Japanese courier, hard, fast racers. And then you get some really odd ones. There's a pirate faction one, and there's even like a weird supernatural one, which I can't remember, where you have one car, but then you have ghost cars, the victims of this previous bit of an old one. But sorry, my phone is not playing ball today on the camera. But there is, as I say, I mentioned Death Race 2000. If you've seen the recent film, there is basically that faction. You have a prison officer, I forget the name of the faction, but basically she welds her lifers into cars on the guarantee that if they win, she gets the money and they get to go free. If they survive, of course, and if they don't win, then they die. And basically you use these cans and you buy your cars and you build upgrades for them, and then you play, and there are a series of scenarios. The basic one, the default one, is like a figure 8. You have 4 gates, and it uses template markers. If you've seen X-Wing or Star Trek Attack Wing, you'll know what I mean. You kind of have to think ahead, and you've got to pick from a series of movement markers which are based on your gear. I think cars go from like 1 to 6 gears, something like that. And you can perform an action, but you can't measure beforehand. You've got to look at the template and go, can I do this? And work it out in your head, which can lead us all kinds of frivolity. But the default sort of rule is you can't activate any weapons until you have crossed the first gate, and the winner is the first person to do the figure 8 and get through the last gate, the fourth gate. But you also have dice that you roll, because obviously you're doing this at high speeds in very unsafe territory, and you can get extra things. So you can get hazard tokens, and if you accrue hazard tokens, then your car can flip out. You can get a free change of gear, up or down, and I think there's 4 different things. I can't remember. There's things that clear hazard tokens, and anyway, and this is your first default scenario sort of thing. But the premise is that once you've played that, you can play a season, and seasons are made up of so many scenarios, and you get points for things that you do that you can use to perform something special in each match. So if you keep the audience happy, you get these extra. I forget what they call off the top of my head, but you can pull extra tricks out of your behind, as it were. You can sabotage other people's cars, or if you really want to be naughty, there is one. I think it costs a lot of points, but basically you are assisted by the people fighting against Mars. In all like audience votes, that's what it's called, audience votes. And so you can have a good bit of fun on this, and you can always bring people in and what have you, and you can, new players, and you get cans at the end of each game, so that you can add new cars or do upgrades or what have you. And you do get a down season, because at some point they don't want to watch the little leagues, which is what you're basically running, and you have to do something to earn some resources away from the screen. So there are wasteland scenarios that you do every so often while everybody watches the big boys, and these can be things from raiding wrecks out in the wastelands for resources, or if you remember, what was the game, Carmageddon on the old PC, maybe PlayStation, where you basically had to run people down, and they had to change it to zombies to stop people complaining. There is a zombie rundown scenario where you have to basically drive over as many zombies as possible without being dragged from your car and turned into a zombie or whatever. Or there's a wasteland monster hunt where you have like a toy dinosaur or something, and you've got to be the one to bring it down, but it's really, really difficult. And you can use these scenarios to gather resources, cans, to increase your team ready for when you come back to a televised match. It's a really good, fun game, and the best thing about it, it's cheap. The rule book is only like about £6 or £7, I think, not much more than that. And what do you use for the miniatures? Well, let me show you. I've got 2 that I built and painted last summer. If you can see these Hot Wheels cars, it's basically all that. They're a little dusty from sitting on the shelves, but basically these are what you use. Hot Wheels scale cars, paint them up, mod them to put things on, and new weapons, rams, you name it. I've got probably a dozen other cars to sort out and do when we can get back to playing it. So it basically means that miniatures are cheap, because these are like a couple of bucks a car. and you can basically sit down and play it, and it's easy enough that kids can play it. Maybe not use the gun special rules, the guns and stuff to start with. Just play racing and then add them on as they get the hang of it. It's a great game. It's really good fun, and there's lots of potential mod options, and you can some of the scenarios. One of them, it's you can take monster trucks and things like that. Or as I say, you can get a suitable sort of like juggernaut sort of lorry, you can turn it into a war rig. There's loads of modelling options, and they're all cheap vehicles. They're good toys. Raid your kids' old toy boxes, you know. I really like this. They have come out with a space version, which I've yet to play, called A Billion Suns. Which once I get a chance to read the rules and actually play it, I'll do a video for that as well. But Gaslands is an absolutely tops game. I really recommend it, especially if you are sort of person that's on a budget for your wargaming. So it's a cheap rule book, and the models, Hot Wheels cars, cheap as chips. So I know I've waffled on that one, but it's a game I'm quite enthusiastic about. I really enjoy it, and I know you will as well. If you've played it, let me know what you think. If you're intrigued, let me know what you think. And if, guys, you enjoyed the video, you enjoyed the channel, give me a thumbs up on the vid, hit that subscribe button, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments down below. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I say, let me know what you think. Take care. Until next time, good gaming.